They stood before a roaring fire in a marble-clad chamber, bathed in the orange glow of torchlight. The emperor's robe shimmered like molten gold, and beside him, the young man bowed his head, nervous perhaps, or simply obedient. With solemn words and ancient rites, the ruler of the greatest empire in the world made a declaration so shocking, so unthinkable, that it would echo through the halls of history like a thunderclap. He was marrying his own son, not by blood, of course, but the truth is even stranger. This wasn't a scandalous love story whispered in corridors. It was a calculated act, rooted in Roman law, legacy, and ambition. The emperor was Hadrian, the man who built the famous wall across Britain. And the boy? His name was Antinous. Their bond would become legend, but not in the way either of them could have imagined. In ancient Rome, adoption wasn't always about family. It was often about politics. Powerful men without biological heirs would adopt talented, ambitious youths to secure their legacy. But Hadrian's choice was different. Antinous was no seasoned senator or military leader. He was a boy from Bithynia, a province in modern-day Turkey, beautiful, athletic, and quiet. Hadrian first saw him during a visit to the provinces, and something about the boy captured his attention. Over time, Antinous became much more than a companion. He traveled with the emperor, studied philosophy, hunted lions, and appeared beside Hadrian in official portraits. Whispers began about love, about favoritism, about a dangerous obsession. But no one dared speak them aloud. Not yet. The empire had seen many strange things, but this was new. By the year 130 AD, Hadrian and Antinous were inseparable. Wherever the emperor went, Athens, Alexandria, Jerusalem, the boy followed. He appeared in public ceremonies, stood beside generals, even sat near the imperial throne. To some it was charming, to others alarming. No one had ever seen a Roman emperor elevate a youth to such prominence without formal title or bloodline. Hadrian refused to explain, but those who looked closely could see it. A deep bond, too intense to be platonic. And then, during a grand voyage along the Nile in Egypt, everything changed. One day, Antinous vanished. Days later, his lifeless body was found in the river. Hadrian was inconsolable. He wept in public, locked himself away for days. But grief quickly turned to myth. The emperor declared Antinous a god. Temples were built. Statues were carved. A star was named after him. The boy became eternal. Why did Antinous die? No one knows for certain. Some whispered it was suicide, an offering to prolong Hadrian's life, as Egyptian magic sometimes demanded. Others believed it was murder, driven by jealousy or court intrigue. Hadrian never spoke of what truly happened. But in the wake of Antinous's death, he did the unthinkable. He ordered temples to be built in the boy's name. He founded a city where his body had been found, Antinopolis. Statues of the beautiful youth were placed across the empire, from Gaul to Greece. Poets sang his praises. Priests declared him divine. Never before had a Roman emperor deified a mortal so young, so openly beloved. To the public, it was strange. To Hadrian, it was necessary. In a world where gods ruled men, Hadrian had made sure the boy who ruled his heart would never be forgotten. Not by history, not by heaven. Centuries have passed, but the story of Hadrian and Antinous still stirs debate. Was it love, lust, manipulation, or something purer? Historians argue, theologians speculate, and artists continue to sculpt the boy's serene face. Antinous became a symbol of beauty, of tragedy, of power immortalized through affection. No other Roman emperor ever elevated a companion so boldly, nor mourned so publicly. Even in death, Antinous lived on, not just in marble and myth, but in the memory of an empire that tried to forget. Today, his statues still stand. His name still echoes in ruins and museums. And Hadrian? He died years later, never recovering from the loss. But in sculpting Antinous into a god, he had etched his own longing into eternity. Some call it twisted, others call it devotion. But one thing is certain: this was no ordinary love story. It was an emperor's final rebellion against time. Today, scholars still wonder, was Hadrian trying to preserve a dynasty or immortalize a heartbreak? Antinous remains the most sculpted male figure of antiquity, after gods themselves. His face became an archetype: youth, perfection, vulnerability. But there's something deeper here. This isn't just the tale of a Roman emperor and a beautiful boy. It's about memory, obsession, and how power shapes love, and how love, in turn, reshapes history. Antinous had no speeches, no writings, no military command. Yet, he became divine. What does it say about the man who raised him and the world that allowed it? Some see tragedy, others see strategy. But one truth remains. Hadrian could command armies and move borders, but he could not stop death. So he did the next best thing. He built eternity around the one thing he couldn't bear to lose. What does it mean to be remembered? Antinous left behind no words, yet his silence echoes louder than many voices. His face, idealized, eternal, became a canvas for emperors, artists, and dreamers across centuries. Maybe Hadrian wasn't just building temples. Maybe he was building a shield against oblivion. We all try to hold on to the people we love, but Hadrian had the means to defy time itself. What began as grief became a monument, not just to a boy, but to longing, to beauty, and to power wrapped in tenderness. In every statue of Antinous, we see not just the youth, but the man who couldn't let him go. And maybe that's why we still care. Because at its heart, this isn't a story about gods or emperors. It's about us. About how far someone will go to keep love alive, even if that means rewriting history itself. Centuries passed, but Antinous refused to vanish. His image traveled far beyond Rome, into Renaissance paintings, into the dreams of poets, into the quiet yearning of those who recognized something familiar in his silence. During the 19th and 20th centuries, artists and thinkers rediscovered him, seeing not just a face, but a symbol of beauty, of forbidden love, of memory rebelling against erasure. In a world that often punished love that didn't fit its rules, Antinous stood like a whisper from the past, delicate, mourned, defiant. Even today, he appears in novels, films, exhibitions, each time reshaped by new eyes, new longing. Perhaps that's the strangest legacy of all, that a boy with no voice became a language, not of conquest, but of connection, not of power, but of presence. He lives because we keep searching for what he meant, and maybe what he still means. But behind all the marble and myth, Antinous remains a mystery, more symbol than story, more presence than person. We don't know what he believed, what he feared, or if he ever truly loved Hadrian back. And yet, he lingers, like a ghost stitched into time's fabric, silent but persistent. In every century, someone has seen themselves in him. That may be the only truth we get, and maybe the only one we need.